Beneath the shimmering facade of Silicon Valley's glass towers and the promises of a digitally connected future lies a story seldom told. It is a tale woven through ambition and idealism, ingenuity and competition. Yet, at its very core, rests a darkness, carefully veiled behind billion-dollar valuations and inspirational keynote speeches. This is the secret no one talks about openly, the great paradox that lies at the heart of the tech world. That the innovation so often celebrated as liberating is in fact quietly shaping the boundaries of our freedom and fundamentally redefining the fabric of society. The myth of Silicon Valley begins with dreams, the legendary garages of Palo Alto, the fearless college dropouts, and the promise that anyone with a great idea could change the world. The early days were marked by genuine idealism. The internet would unite people, software would empower the powerless, and technology would catalyze global progress. For a time, that dream seemed almost within reach. Computers shrank to fit in our pockets, and knowledge was democratized at a rate never before seen in human history. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. The brightest minds, lured by the astonishing potential of their inventions, began to chase not just progress, but domination. The language changed. Users became data points, communities became markets, and disruption became synonymous with eliminating competition. Every click, every like, every fleeting comment was logged and analyzed in pursuit of one goal: growth at any cost. Data became oil, the world's most valuable resource. Companies began building vast digital profiles on billions of users, often with scant oversight or transparency. The daily lives, interests, habits, and secrets of entire populations became the raw materials for algorithms more complex and inscrutable than most could understand. The tools that were supposed to bring us closer together became high-precision instruments for shaping our behavior, nudging our choices, sometimes even manipulating our beliefs. The internet, in the hands of a few powerful firms, had become not just a platform, but a panopticon. The deepest secret of Silicon Valley is not just the scale or scope of data collection. Rather, it is a philosophical question. Who shapes the values of our societies, and who decides what futures are possible? In the quest to optimize engagement, drive virality, and maximize screen time, the technologies we cherish have subtly reshaped our culture, our attention spans, our discourse, and even our politics. It is easy to underestimate how much power a handful of engineers, designers, and executives wield, not simply in what we see or consume, but what we believe and how we relate to each other. Success, in the Valley, is often measured by the speed of growth and the scale of impact. In this relentless pursuit, ethics became a footnote, relegated to internal committees or carefully worded public statements. Consider the stories we seldom hear: the whistleblowers who tried to slow down the machinery of profit, only to be met with NDA-enforced silence; the engineers who raised questions about privacy or social harm, only to be told that change would hurt the bottom line. For every widely publicized act of philanthropy, there are countless instances where hard questions were set aside in favor of making the quarterly numbers look better. Beyond the faceless nature of data collection, Silicon Valley's secret is built upon another foundation: the cultivation of scarcity and dependency. With every innovation, the giants reinforce their positions. Social networks become indispensable. App stores act as the only viable channels to reach consumers. Platforms dictate the rules and take their cuts. The promise of an open internet wanes as walled gardens sprout behind every login screen. Competition, instead of fostering diversity, often paves the way for consolidation. Smaller firms are acquired or crushed, and the network effects of the largest players become insurmountable. The products that define our era are no longer tools we control. They have become infrastructures we cannot live without. The resulting power imbalance is stark. A handful of individuals, some still in their 20s or 30s, make decisions affecting the minds, economies, and governments of nations. This concentration of power, often unaccountable to anyone outside the privileged ecosystem of venture capital and top-tier engineers, constitutes the real secret, more consequential than any security breach or trade secret theft. The Valley's quietest truth is that, while it celebrates democratization on the surface, it often functions as an oligarchy behind closed doors. And as the algorithms grow more sophisticated, learning from oceans of data, bias and discrimination often go unchecked, encoded invisibly into systems that are assumed to be objective. Decisions about who gets a loan, who sees a job posting, or whose voices are heard are increasingly made not by humans, but by machines optimizing for profit, engagement, or efficiency. The feedback loops are subtle, but their effects are real, embedding inequalities deeper rather than erasing them. The Valley prides itself on moving fast and breaking things. But sometimes what is broken is the social fabric itself. Many of the most prominent leaders insist they are building tools to uplift humanity. But the economic engine drives them to maximize shareholder value, often in direct conflict with public good. Exponential growth requires ever more aggressive tactics, hooking children on screens, addicting users to endless scrolls, or leveraging psychological vulnerabilities in the name of engagement. The services that promised connection sometimes leave us isolated, anxious, and divided. There are those who resist, within and beyond Silicon Valley. Voices demanding greater transparency, regulation, and accountability. Innovators creating alternatives, privacy-first products, open-source communities, decentralized networks. Journalists and activists exposing the costs of unchecked power, often at personal risk. But the inertia is vast, and the resources marshaled by incumbents can seem insurmountable. The secret, then, is not just that Silicon Valley has profound power, but that it often exercises this power invisibly, shaping not only what we do today, but the possible contours of tomorrow. To confront this darkness is to realize that technology is not destiny. It is the collective product of decisions made by people, subject to influence, regulation, and oversight. The question is not merely what can be built, but what should be built, and for whom. Beneath the billions of lines of code and the triumphant language of progress, at the heart of Silicon Valley, lies a truth as old as civilization itself. That unchecked power, even when clothed in innovation, can cast shadows longer and darker than any machine can measure. If there is hope for a brighter, more just digital future, it will come not from the next killer app, but from our willingness to confront the paradox at the center of the Valley, and to demand more than disruption, but real, shared progress for all.